There is a tab open on your phone right now that you haven't looked at in 3 days. There is a video you started watching last night that you paused 14 minutes in and never returned to. There is a conversation thread you opened, read, and then set face down on the table because the idea of responding felt like too much. And right now, in this moment, even as something in you is genuinely trying to pay attention, there is another part of you already pulling, already drifting, already reaching for something else, something you can't quite name. And you've probably told yourself the story about this. You've probably used the word addicted. You've said it half-jokingly to friends. I'm addicted to my phone. I'm addicted to scrolling. I can't focus on anything for more than 5 minutes. You've maybe even said it with a kind of exhausted resignation, like someone confessing a character flaw they've given up trying to fix. And the world around you has agreed. There are entire industries built on the premise that you have a distraction problem. Apps that lock your other apps. Timers, productivity systems, dopamine detoxes, books with urgent titles that promise to give you your attention back. But here is what none of those things have told you. What most people call a distraction addiction is not actually a distraction addiction. It is your nervous system sending you a signal. A desperate, urgent, sometimes frantic signal about something that has never once been properly given to you. And the tragedy is not that you keep getting distracted. The tragedy is that you have been trying to solve the wrong problem for years, possibly for your entire life, while the real need sits quietly underneath all of it, unmet and unrecognized, patiently waiting for you to finally understand what it has been trying to tell you. This is not a video about productivity. This is not a video about discipline or willpower, or how to put your phone in another room. This is a video about what your nervous system is actually searching for when it pulls you away from the present moment. And understanding that one thing, giving it a name, recognizing it in yourself, might be the most important psychological insight you encounter this year. Let's begin with what distraction actually feels like from the inside, because the way we talk about it publicly and the way it actually feels are two completely different things. When someone says they're distracted, the image we tend to get is passive, lazy, unfocused, someone lying on a couch, mindlessly scrolling while important things go undone. But that's not what it feels like when you're living it. When you're living it, distraction doesn't feel passive at all. It feels like pressure, like a kind of internal static that builds and builds until you relieve it by reaching for something, anything that interrupts it. It feels like your skin is slightly too tight, like there's something just beneath the surface that you can't quite touch, like you're waiting for something without knowing what you're waiting for. And the moment you reach for your phone, or open a new tab, or start a new show, or begin researching something completely unrelated to what you were supposed to be doing, there is a brief, almost physical relief, a loosening, a momentary quiet, and then, within minutes, sometimes within seconds, the static returns, and you reach again. And the cycle continues. Not because you are weak, not because you have no discipline, but because you are trying to soothe something that cannot be soothed this way. You are trying to fill something with the wrong substance. Psychologists and neuroscientists have spent decades studying the mechanics of attention and distraction, and what they've found consistently points to something that our cultural conversation almost never addresses. The research suggests that chronic distraction, the kind that feels compulsive, the kind that follows you even when you genuinely want to focus, the kind that persists even after you've removed the obvious triggers, is almost never about the distracting thing itself. It is about what the mind is fleeing from, or more precisely, what the mind is searching for that it cannot find in the present moment. There is a concept in psychology called interoception. It refers to your nervous system's ability to perceive and interpret signals from inside your own body. Things like hunger, fatigue, emotional discomfort, the subtle physical sensations that accompany feelings before those feelings become fully conscious thoughts. And research on interoception has revealed something quietly profound. People who struggle most with chronic distraction often have a complicated relationship with their own internal states. Not because they're broken, not because something went wrong with their wiring, but because at some point, turning away from internal experience became a survival strategy. Because sitting with what was happening inside felt dangerous or overwhelming or simply too painful to bear. Think about what that means for a moment. If your nervous system learned, somewhere along the way, that internal experience is something to be escaped rather than inhabited, then every moment of quiet, every moment of stillness, every moment where the external world stops providing stimulation becomes a moment where the internal world rushes in. And if the internal world feels unsafe or unbearable or simply too loud, then of course you reach for distraction. Of course you pull toward anything that keeps the inside quiet. That is not weakness. That is a nervous system doing exactly what it learned to do to keep you okay. But here's the invisible truth that sits underneath all of this. The thing your nervous system is actually searching for, the thing that every scroll and every tab and every half-watched video is an attempt to approximate, is not entertainment. It is not stimulation. It is not novelty, though novelty is part of the surface texture of it. The thing your nervous system is searching for is presence. Specifically, the experience of being fully present with something that feels genuinely meaningful. The experience of being so absorbed in something real, something that matters to you at a deep level, that the static disappears not because you escaped it, but because you found something worth inhabiting. And the reason this matters so profoundly is that presence of this kind, genuine absorption in something meaningful, is not just pleasant, it is biologically necessary. Your nervous system is not designed to be a passive consumer of stimulation. It is designed to be engaged, to be connected, to be oriented towards something that carries real significance. And when that orientation is missing, when the day is filled with tasks that feel hollow, or relationships that feel performative, or a life that feels like it belongs to someone else's script, the nervous system does not simply accept that quietly. It protests, it searches, it pulls toward anything that might, even briefly, approximate the feeling of being alive and present and genuinely here. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon under several different frameworks. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the Hungarian-American psychologist, spent decades researching what he called flow states, moments of complete absorption, where a person is so engaged in an activity that self-consciousness disappears, time distorts, and the experience of being alive becomes vivid and immediate. What Csikszentmihalyi found was not simply that flow states feel good. He found that they are among the primary sources of genuine psychological well-being. That people who experience them regularly report higher levels of life satisfaction, lower levels of anxiety and depression, and a more coherent sense of self. And crucially, he found that modern life, with its fragmented attention and passive consumption and endless low-grade stimulation, is almost perfectly designed to prevent them. Because flow requires something that our distraction-saturated environment makes increasingly rare. It requires a challenge that is matched to your skill level. Not so easy that your mind wanders, not so difficult that you freeze in anxiety, but right at the edge of your current capacity, pulling you forward, requiring your full engagement. And here is what this means for you. When you find yourself unable to focus, when the pull toward distraction feels almost physical, it is worth asking not what is wrong with your attention, but whether anything in your current environment is offering you that edge, whether anything in your day is asking enough of you, whether you are being genuinely challenged by something that genuinely matters to you. Because if the answer is no, then distraction is not a failure. It is a symptom. It is your nervous system's way of saying, this is not enough. I need something real. If this is already starting to land somewhere real for you, please take a second to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next on this channel. And this is where it gets more complicated and more tender. Because for many people, the absence of genuine challenge and genuine meaning in daily life is not an accident. It is the result of something that happened much earlier. Something that shaped the way you relate to your own desires, your own interests, your own sense of what you are allowed to want. There is a pattern that psychologists who work with adults raised in high-pressure or emotionally invalidating environments recognize consistently. And it goes something like this. As a child, you had genuine enthusiasms, things that lit you up from the inside, things you wanted to pursue, not because they were practical or impressive or approved of, but simply because they called to you. And somewhere along the way, those enthusiasms were met with something less than full support. Maybe they were dismissed as impractical. Maybe they were ignored. Maybe the message you received, directly or indirectly, was that what you wanted was less important than what was expected of you, that your inner life was a luxury you couldn't afford, that the right thing to do was to set aside what felt meaningful and focus on what was required. And so you did, because you were a child, and children are extraordinarily good at adapting to the emotional environments they find themselves in. You learn to override the signal of genuine interest. You learn to distrust the feeling of being pulled towards something for its own sake. You learn that following what genuinely matters to you is somehow irresponsible, or selfish, or naive. And now you are an adult, and you have built a life that looks reasonable from the outside. And inside it, your nervous system is still searching, still pulling, still sending signals that something essential is missing. And because you learned long ago not to trust those signals, because you learned that what you want is not a reliable guide, you don't follow them toward what they're actually pointing at. Instead, you soothe them. You quiet them temporarily with distraction, with the brief relief of novelty, with the momentary loosening that comes from scrolling, or switching, or starting something new and not finishing it. And the things you start and don't finish, the projects you begin with genuine excitement and then abandon, the interests you pursue intensely for a few weeks before they fade, these are not evidence of your inadequacy. They are evidence of a nervous system that is still trying to find the thing, still searching, still reaching, still hoping that this one might be it. And when it isn't, when the initial rush of novelty fades and what's left is the slow work of genuine engagement, the nervous system retreats. Because slow, genuine engagement requires something you were never taught to give yourself. It requires the belief that what matters to you is worth the sustained investment of your attention. Let's talk about what this actually looks like in the body, because this is not only a psychological phenomenon, it is a physiological one. When your nervous system is in a state of chronic underfulfillment, when the deep need for meaningful engagement is chronically unmet, your baseline arousal level shifts. You exist in a kind of low-grade restlessness, a background hum of dissatisfaction that isn't quite anxiety and isn't quite boredom, but shares qualities of both. Researchers sometimes describe this state using the concept of the window of tolerance, a term developed by psychiatrist Dan Siegel to describe the zone of arousal in which the nervous system can function most effectively. Neither too activated nor too shut down. What chronic distraction often represents is a nervous system that has slipped slightly outside that window. Not dramatically, not in a way that looks like crisis from the outside, but enough that stillness feels uncomfortable, enough that presence feels threatening, enough that the mind reaches almost automatically for anything that provides a brief regulatory hit. The phone, the tab, the show, the snack, the daydream. Each of these provides a tiny moment of nervous system regulation, a brief return toward the window, and then the drift begins again. This is why willpower-based solutions to distraction almost never work in the long run, because willpower operates at the level of behavior. It can make you put the phone down. It cannot address the underlying dysregulation that made you reach for it. And if the underlying state is never addressed, the reaching will simply find another outlet. You'll put the phone down and start reorganizing your desk. You'll close the tab and start making a list of things you need to do. You'll turn off the show and lie in the dark, thinking about everything and nothing. The form changes. The function remains the same. The nervous system is still searching. And here's the truth most people miss. The solution is not to stop searching. The solution is to finally find what you have been searching for. And that requires something that feels almost counterintuitive, given how we've been taught to think about distraction. It requires you to take your own inner life seriously, to treat the signals your nervous system sends not as problems to be managed, but as information to be listened to ask with genuine curiosity and without judgment, what is it that I actually need right now? What is it that this restlessness is pointing toward? Because the restlessness is pointing toward something. It always is. The static is not random noise. It is a signal, and the signal is almost always some version of this. I need to be genuinely engaged with something that matters to me. I need to feel the experience of being fully present in my own life. I need to know that what I care about is worth caring about. I need to be seen by myself, if no one else, as someone whose inner life is real and significant and worth attending to. I want to pause here and ask you something. When did you first notice this restlessness in yourself? Was there a specific moment, a season of your life, when you realized that the reaching and the searching had become constant? Drop that in the comments if you feel comfortable. You might be surprised how many people are sitting with the exact same memory. There is a concept in psychology called psychological safety, and while it's often discussed in the context of teams and organizations, its deepest roots are personal. Psychological safety, at its most fundamental level, is the experience of being safe. Enough to be present. Safe enough to feel what you feel. Safe enough to want what you want. Safe enough to engage fully with your own experience without bracing for the consequences. And for many people, this safety was never fully established. Not because of dramatic trauma necessarily, though sometimes that too, but because of the accumulating weight of small messages received over a lifetime. Messages that said your inner life is not quite trustworthy. Your desires are not quite legitimate. Your sensitivity is not quite appropriate. Your enthusiasm is not quite proportional. And when psychological safety is absent, presence becomes difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. Because presence means feeling everything, including the things that feel uncomfortable, including the longing and the grief, and the uncertainty, and the quiet ache of a life that hasn't quite matched the life you sensed was possible. And if those things feel too large to be with, then distraction becomes not a bad habit, but a form of protection, a way of staying just slightly above the surface of your own experience, never quite submerging into it, never quite drowning, but never quite swimming either. And maybe, as you're hearing this, something in you recognizes that description. Maybe you recognize the way you hover, the way you engage with your life from a slight distance, the way you can be in the middle of something and already thinking about what comes next, the way presence, real presence, feels both deeply wanted and somehow slightly dangerous. If you recognize that, I want you to hear this clearly. That is not a personality flaw. That is a learned response to an environment that did not fully support your presence. That is your nervous system doing the best it could with what it had. And the fact that you are here, that you are watching this, that some part of you is still searching, is not evidence of your brokenness. It is evidence of your aliveness. The part of you that keeps searching is the part of you that still believes that something real is possible. That genuine presence is possible. That a life that feels inhabited rather than merely occupied is possible. And that belief is not naive. It is accurate. Because here is what the research on meaning, on flow, on psychological well-being consistently shows. The capacity for genuine engagement, for presence, for absorption in something that matters, is not something you either have or don't have. It is something that can be cultivated slowly, gently, and with a great deal of self-compassion. But it requires starting from a different place than most productivity advice suggests. It requires starting not with your behavior, but with your relationship to your own inner life. This is what psychologists who specialize in attention and meaning making have begun to call attentional intimacy. The ability to be close to your own experience, to let what is happening inside you actually register, to notice what genuinely interests you, what genuinely moves you, what genuinely feels alive, without immediately evaluating whether those things are practical or impressive or worthy of the investment. Because the first step toward finding what your nervous system has been searching for is learning to trust that the search itself is legitimate, that the longing for genuine engagement is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that you are a human being with a nervous system that is designed for meaning. Let's be specific about what genuine engagement actually feels like, because many people have been so long in the habit of distraction that they've partially lost access to the felt sense of it. Genuine engagement has a particular quality. It feels like a kind of gathering, like the scattered parts of your attention coming together toward a single point. It has a slight warmth to it, a sense of rightness, not the sharp excitement of novelty, which is real but brief, but something quieter and more sustaining. A sense of, this is worth my time. This is worth my presence. This matters. And crucially, genuine engagement does not require that the activity be glamorous or impressive. It does not require an audience. It does not require that you be particularly good at the thing. Some of the most profound experiences of genuine engagement happen in very ordinary moments. A conversation where you are truly listening. A walk where you are actually noticing the world around you. A problem you are genuinely trying to solve. A piece of writing you are doing for no one but yourself. A meal you are actually tasting. The common thread is not the activity. The common thread is the quality of your presence within it. And this is where the relationship between distraction and meaning becomes most clear. Distraction is not actually the opposite of focus. Distraction is the opposite of presence. And presence is not something you achieve by eliminating distractions. It is something you grow toward by developing a more trusting, more compassionate, more curious relationship with your own inner life. by practicing the small act of asking, what do I actually notice right now? What do I actually feel? What do I actually want? And then staying with the answers long enough to let them mean something. This is not easy, especially if you have spent years, maybe decades, in the habit of moving away from those questions rather than toward them. Especially if the answers have historically felt too large, or too sad, or too complicated, or too likely to lead somewhere you weren't sure you could handle. Especially if you have learned to be suspicious of your own desires. Especially if the voice in your head that says what you want doesn't matter has been speaking for so long that it sounds like the voice of reason rather than the voice of an old wound. But here is what is also true. Every time you pause and ask that question, every time you resist the pull of distraction long enough to notice what's underneath it, every time you treat your inner life as something worth attending to, you are doing something genuinely significant. You are practicing the thing your nervous system has been searching for. You are building the capacity for presence. You are, slowly and imperfectly, and in the most ordinary of moments, beginning to inhabit your own life. There is something I want to say about the abandoned projects and the half-finished things and the interest that flared and then faded, because this is where so much shame lives. The guitar in the corner, the language app you opened every day for 3 weeks and then never again. The journal you started with genuine intention and then left on a shelf. The creative project you were excited about until you weren't. These things carry a particular weight, don't they? A particular flavor of self-accusation. Evidence, the inner critic says, of your fundamental inability to commit, of your shallowness, of the way you always start things and never finish them. But I want to offer you a different way of seeing this, because what those abandoned things actually represent, in most cases, is not failure. They represent the search. Each one was an attempt by your nervous system to find the thing, to find the experience of genuine engagement, to find the activity or the practice or the relationship with yourself that would quiet the static and provide the presence you've been longing for. And when each one didn't quite reach that depth, when the novelty faded and what remained wasn't quite enough to hold you, you moved on. Not because you are incapable of commitment, but because you haven't yet found the right conditions for it. And the right conditions are not primarily about the activity itself. They are about your internal relationship to the activity, about whether you feel safe enough to stay when it gets difficult, about whether you believe your investment of attention is legitimate, about whether you can tolerate the slow, unglamorous middle of genuine learning without fleeing back to the comfort of novelty. And those internal conditions are shaped by the beliefs you carry about your own worth, about whether what you care about is worth caring about whether you are the kind of person who gets to have things that matter. This is where the work lives, not in finding the perfect hobby or the perfect system or the perfect productivity hack. The work lives in the quiet, ongoing practice of treating yourself as someone whose inner life is real and significant, someone whose search for meaning is legitimate, someone who deserves the experience of genuine presence. Not as a reward for achieving something, not contingent on being productive or impressive or consistent, but simply because you are here, because you are a human being with a nervous system that is designed for meaning. And that is enough. Research in the field of self-determination theory, developed by psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, has identified 3 core psychological needs that are essential for genuine well-being. Autonomy, the experience of acting in accordance with your own values and desires. Competence, the experience of being genuinely effective at something that matters. And relatedness, the experience of being genuinely connected to others. What's striking about chronic distraction, when you look at it through this lens, is that it almost perfectly mimics the satisfaction of all 3 needs without actually providing any of them. Scrolling gives you the illusion of choice without genuine autonomy. Novelty gives you the feeling of stimulation without genuine competence. Social media gives you the sensation of connection without genuine relatedness. Your nervous system is not fooled, even when your conscious mind is. The hollow echo of pseudo-satisfaction is not the same as the real thing. And somewhere beneath the surface, your body knows the difference. The restlessness that returns so quickly after each distraction is your nervous system's way of saying, "This is not it. Keep searching." And so you do, and you will continue to, until you find a way to offer yourself what you've actually been searching for, which is not a better app or a cleaner desk or a more disciplined morning routine. What you've been searching for is the experience of being genuinely present in your own life, of caring about something and letting yourself care, of doing something that matters and staying with it long enough to feel the slow, sustaining satisfaction of genuine engagement, of being, in whatever imperfect and ordinary way, fully here. There is a kind of courage in that, a quiet, underappreciated courage. The courage to stop performing presence and start practicing it. The courage to take your own inner life seriously in a world that is constantly offering you reasons to look away from it. The courage to say, "What I need matters. What I feel is real. What I want is worth attending to." And you don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to achieve some pristine state of undistracted presence. The goal is not to never reach for your phone again. The goal is to begin slowly and with great compassion for yourself, to notice when you're reaching, to pause even briefly and ask what you're reaching for, to develop a slightly more curious and slightly less self-critical relationship with the restlessness, to treat the search not as a symptom of your brokenness, but as evidence of your aliveness. Because that is what it is, the part of you that keeps searching, that keeps pulling towards something you can't quite name, that keeps starting things and feeling the brief electricity of possibility. That part of you is not broken. That part of you is the most alive part of you. It is the part that still believes something real is possible, that genuine presence is possible, that a life worth inhabiting is possible. And it is right. It is absolutely right. The distraction is not the enemy. The distraction is the messenger, and the message it has been carrying through every scroll and every tab and every abandoned project and every moment of restless reaching is simply this: you deserve to be genuinely present in your own life. You deserve to care about things and have that caring matter. You deserve the experience of being fully here, not someday, not after you've fixed yourself, not once you've developed more discipline or found the right system or figured out what you're supposed to be doing. Now, as you are, with all the unfinished projects and the scattered attention and the years of searching, you deserve presence now. And maybe that is the real revelation. Not that you need to stop being distracted, but that you need to start being found. By yourself first. By the quiet recognition that what you've been searching for has never been outside you. It has been waiting here, in the stillness beneath the static, in the signal your nervous system has been sending since the very beginning. If someone in your life is caught in this same cycle of reaching and searching and never quite landing, consider sending them this video. Sometimes the most quietly powerful thing you can do for another person is give them the language for something they've been living but couldn't name. That kind of recognition can shift something. It can make someone feel less alone in their own restlessness, and that matters more than most of us realize. You are not addicted to distraction. You are a person with a nervous system that is searching urgently and persistently for the experience of being genuinely alive. And now that you know what it's searching for, you can begin to offer it something real. If this video helped you feel seen, I hope you'll stay. There is so much more to explore together about the hidden architecture of your inner life, the signals your nervous system sends, and the quiet work of learning to inhabit your own experience more fully. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And if you feel safe, share something in the comments. What does your restlessness feel like from the inside? What have you been searching for? Someone out there might need your words to feel a little less alone in their own search. Thank you for watching. A lot of what drives that restlessness connects to something even deeper. The experience of growing up being told your needs weren't the priority. The video on the psychology of people who were taught their needs don't matter explores exactly how those early messages shape the way you move through the world as an adult, and why understanding that history might be the most clarifying thing you do